Today, I'm going to build the most expensive team of all time. In every position, we're going to sign the player with the highest transfer fee, starting with the goalkeeper position. You would think players like Courtois or maybe Alisson would be the most expensive goalkeeper of all time. But would you believe it? It's actually Kepa. Yup, Chelsea signed him from Athletic Bilbao for 80 million for a goalkeeper. That's crazy. And look at how it's turned out. I think Kepa's highlight from Chelsea is the time where he refused to get subbed off and created complete chaos. But hey, since he's the most expensive goalkeeper of all time, we've signed him to our team. Considering we're signing a team of the most expensive and valuable players, I didn't expect my first player to be 81 rated, because that's going to be a problem. We're not only just building the most expensive team of all time, we're going to see if this team can win the Champions League. It's kind of going to prove that if with money, can you buy the Champions League trophy or not?
Of course. I mean, look at me.
Next up, we've got the right back position, and this one's actually super close. João Cancelo, when he moved to Man City, was the most expensive right back of all time at 65 million. But then soon enough, that record was broken when Achraf Hakimi moved to PSG from Inter for 68 million. So that basically makes him the most expensive right back of all time. Do you know what? We're also going to rate these transfers out of 10. If I had to rate Hakimi's move from Inter to PSG, I'd give that like a solid 7. Like, he's been a decent transfer, but you expect that with that kind of money. We didn't rate Kepa though, so let's do that now. Okay, this one I'm giving like a 2 out of 10. But hey, Kepa's still a bit young. He can maybe change that.
We don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
Regardless, we've got the most expensive right back of all time joining our team. Time to bring in the most expensive left back of all time. And that's actually Cucurella when he moved from Brighton to Chelsea for 73.5 million, which has been a complete flop. If I had to rate this transfer, I would give it like a 1 on 10. Honestly, I'm pretty sure Ben Chilwell plays way more than him. And so the next player to join this team is Marc Cucurella. Not gonna lie, when I started this challenge, I didn't expect my first 3 signings to be Cucurella, Kepa, and Hakimi. Alright, Hakimi's decent, worth the money I'd say, but Cucurella and Kepa, yay.
Why, Dada? Why?
This is business.
The total value of just these 3 players is about 150 million. But it's about to get a lot crazier because we haven't gotten to the more expensive positions. So far with the 3 players we've got, this team looks just like a massive waste of money. But hopefully that changes with the centre-back position. I really thought the world's most expensive centre-back was going to be Virgil van Dijk because, I mean, at one point he really was the best centre-back in the world. He even finished like 2nd in the Ballon d'Or rankings at one point.
Darkness, my old friend.
And I'd say his transfer fee of about 85 million, it was worth it for Liverpool. But he is not the world's most expensive centre-back. Matthias de Ligt is the next closest one. He made the move from Ajax to Juventus for 85.5 million. But he too is not the world's most expensive centre-back. You'd be shocked to know who it is.
Son.
That's right, guys. It's freaking Harry Maguire. Who would have thought? Oh my days. Look at his value now. He's worth 15 million. I can't believe Manchester United paid 87 million for him. That is outrageous. Oh man, I don't even know if I can give him a rating. 0 on 10? But since he is technically the world's most expensive centre-back, we have no choice but to sign him. Honestly, with the team we're building, forget the Champions League. I feel we're not even good enough to win the Conference League. Moving on to the other centre-back position, and this one's interesting because up until now, Harry Maguire was the most expensive centre-back of all time, but he finally has been eclipsed. Josko Gvardiol has made a record-breaking move to Manchester City for 90 million. Okay, I gotta say, this transfer isn't official yet, but hey, Fabrizio's made the tweet, and if Fabrizio says, here we go, the transfer is basically done. And yep, it's 90 million, the final fee. Honestly, I kind of rate this transfer because Gvardiol is a top-tier talent. He was one of the best young players of the World Cup. I'm pretty sure he was worth like 100 million. But then after what Messi did to him, they had to reduce his value just a little bit. But honestly, guys, this transfer is a bit difficult to rate because it's just been made. He's not done anything. But in terms of excitement and everything, I'd give this transfer a solid 8 on 10 because I know this kid has got the talent. But let's see if he can, handle the pressure. And so he joins the most expensive team of all time. Talking about pressure for Gvardiol, I think Man City, he's going to be fine. But playing alongside Harry Maguire, I don't think so.
It is what it is.
So far with just the defense, this team costs 327 million. And I know that doesn't sound all that impressive, but as we get to the midfield and attack, you guys are going to see some crazy numbers. Oh, and by the way, if you enjoy my videos, I'd appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel. Moving on to the midfield, and this is where the team actually gets crazy. Starting off with the CDM position, it is actually a transfer that has just happened recently. That's right, Declan Rice making the move from West Ham to Arsenal for £100 million is literally the most expensive CDM signing ever. Declan Rice guided West Ham to a trophy. You know how crazy that is? So yeah, fair play, £100 million. I mean, that's the current market, man. What can you do about it? I'm gonna rate this transfer a solid 8 on 10 because if I'm correct, Man City tried to sign him as well, but he ended up choosing Arsenal. So, you know, I rate this transfer. I'm hoping it comes through for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal. I mean, it better come through. They've spent a fortune on him. After Hakimi, this is like the first baller we're adding to the team, so I'm pretty happy about it. Okay, now I gotta admit it, this team might end up winning the Conference League, but yeah, Champions League, the other signings need to be even more amazing. The midfield position's actually interesting because Paul Pogba was the second most expensive central midfielder of all time. He moved to Manchester United for £89 million. But recently, Real Madrid came out guns blazing. Jude Bellingham is now the second most expensive midfielder of all time. Actually, guys, between Paul Pogba and Bellingham, it is a bit confusing in terms of the fees, because in terms of raw money, I think Pogba was more expensive, but Bellingham, with the add-ons and the way the deal is structured, is actually way more expensive. And I think we got to keep the add-ons in mind. And so, we've got Bellingham joining the Money FC, making this team even more insane. Okay, if I had to rate Jude Bellingham signing to Madrid from, of course, Borussia Dortmund, I'd give this probably an 8 on 10, because from what I've seen him play for Madrid so far in pre-season, he looks like the real deal. He's that kind of a player that definitely warrants the price tag. But Jude Bellingham is only the second most expensive central midfielder. There's actually someone more expensive than him, and that guy is Enzo Fernandez, young player of the year at the World Cup. Of course he was going to go for a premium, and Chelsea decided to break the bank signing him. Over £107 million was his transfer fee, and of course they're going to be add-ons as well. Enzo Fernandez is now the newest member of Money FC. With the midfield now complete, I just did the math of how costly this team is, and it's coming to 700 million without even the attackers. This team is gonna go way above the 1 billion mark, and that's just the first 11. But honestly, why does it feel with all that money this team ain't looking all that? But maybe that changes with the attack. The attack is about to get super expensive, and we're starting with the right winger position. For a long time, actually, it was Gareth Bale, the world record holder for the most expensive transfer, moving from Spurs to Madrid. I think the fee for that was about 100 million, but it's Ousmane Dembele who now holds the record for the most expensive right winger. Dembele made the move from Spurs to Barcelona for a fee of like 140 million, which by the way is crazy considering half the time he's been injured for Barca. Vamos Dembele! If I had to rate this transfer, it would be a 0. Because for that kind of money, he's been injured half the time. And to make it worse, apparently now, he's heading off to PSG. Fair play, Ousmane, you finessed everyone. Bro, it feels like Mane single-handedly put Barcelona in bankruptcy mode.
Have you ever had a dream that you could do?
But hey, at least that secured his entry to the most expensive team of all time. We've got now 2 positions left, the striker and the left winger position, probably the most expensive positions in football. And things are about to get crazy. Of course, it's Kylian Mbappe, made the move from Monaco to PSG for 180 million, and that might just be a temporary record because I think he could be on his way to Real Madrid for like 200 million. He already rejected, I think, Al Ahly, who are willing to pay 300 million. That would be a world record transfer fee. But yeah, Kylian Mbappe is the second most expensive player of all time. And honestly, if I were rating his transfer from Monaco to PSG, I'd actually give it a 10 on 10 because he's now become one of the world's best players. So fair enough. And PSG, even after spending 180 million on him, are probably going to make a bit of money unless he ends up leaving as a free agent next season. Regardless, we've got Kylian Mbappe joining the most expensive team in the history of football. We've still still got one more position left, but the transfer fee of this entire team has already crossed 1 billion. And the final player is a record-breaking transfer, the most expensive player of all time. And yes, you know it, it's freaking Neymar. And the funny thing is, the transfer fee of when he moved from Barca to PSG was 222 million. That was his release clause. Barcelona said that thinking nobody would be able to afford that, and instead PSG came in and completely changed the market.
Boom.
Because of that, we're adding the world's most expensive player to our team. And that's it. That's the most expensive first 11 in football, costing over 1.2 billion. I was looking at this team and I found it super interesting to note which clubs were able to make these record transfers. You've got PSG with 3 signings. Of course, Mbappe, Neymar, and Hakimi. Chelsea do manage to make 3 signings. Enzo, Cucurella, and Kepa, although 2 of them have been complete flops. But yeah, the fact that you've got Arsenal, City, Man United, Madrid, Barca all coming in with 1 signings as well makes it very interesting. It's now time to try and see if money can buy the Champions League. But before that, I think this team needs to have a bench, because without that, they're not winning anything. So we've literally added some expensive transfers that just about missed out being in the team. Like Griezmann to Barca was crazy expensive. Felix to Atletico as well. What a flop that's been. Coutinho to Barca, probably the worst transfer. If he was in the main team, I'd rate him a -1 on 10. Then you've got Pogba, De Ligt, Van Dijk, and Alisson. But still, it's Maguire in that first team. But anyways, let's see how this team does. We've made our way to the end of the season, and the most expensive team in the history of football has only finished 3rd in the Premier League. It's Man City who ended up winning the league. I guess, as they say, there's always someone with more money. But what we really want to see is if money can buy the Champions League. Well, not off to a good start in the group stages at least. But okay, knocking out PSG in the round of 16, that's amazing. I didn't expect that. To be fair, if you look at our team, we've kind of taken 3 of their best players, so this was kind of expected. Quarterfinals, through against Napoli, and through in the semi-finals as well. It does look like money can buy the Champions League, because only Dortmund remain. Let's see, guys. One last game. Can Mbappe, Neymar, Maguire, Cucurella, well, yeah, the world's most expensive football team, can they win football's ultimate prize? The moment of truth. Can we win the Champions League with Money FC? And on penalties, they've just about done it. Fair enough. The most expensive player of this team, Neymar, actually missed a penalty in the final. So I guess money can buy you the Champions League. Well, if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy me building a squad of the world's best managers. Why don't you click here to watch that?